Friends, it's really great to be with you here this afternoon, but not in person. And that's a real shame. I had hoped for that. I had planned for that. But friends, I am in Amsterdam. Linda, my sweet wife of, can you believe it, 51 years. My greatest supporter, one who loves CES as much as I do, had a stroke yesterday on our way to the gate leaving Amsterdam for Toronto. So we should have been home on Thursday afternoon. We're still in Amsterdam. The prognosis is not as we had hoped for. We are praying that things will go better each day. And I just want you to know that we are in good hands here, in a great hospital. And I'm very, very impressed with the kind of care and love that we are receiving, not just from this hospital, but from so many of you who have sent their greetings, their wishes, their prayers, and all the good thoughts. It's just amazing what happens when people share the love and show us how much they care. Now, Linda always wanted to travel with me to Kenya, but stayed behind for many reasons, principally of health and aversion to many foods, having a celiac disease. But I must say, without her support for me and our shared vision, CES would not be what it is today. It's just like our students in Kenya, who so often will say, without CES, where would I be? Well, I can say something similar. Without Linda, where would CES be? Where would I be? You see, I have breathed the sweet Kenyan air for 1 year of my life, and that without her. And that was a huge sacrifice on her part. Linda has always been my guide, my confidant, and she loved the Kenyan kids like I have and still do, but always by proxy and from a distance. She knew their names. She loved them all. And I would say to you gathered here today at Kingsway, if you have never been to Kenya in your life, then you really have something to look forward to. CES, or as they call it over in Kenya, CES, is a story of miracles. It's not about an organization. It's about people coming together, sharing a vision, celebrating life by reaching out to others. It is, in fact, the fundamental truth that good things happen when we realize we're giving back for all we have received in life. So when we talk about a miracle, we're talking about people working together. The message is, together we walk farther and do better. I think of meeting someone by the name of Lois Crowfoot in 1984 in the very room that you're in right now, where she invited me to become part of the Baptist Overseas Mission Board. And I became the executive director of what was known as CBOM in those days, responsible for Ontario and Quebec. There I met Ron Ward, who for 40 years had been a servant of the people in Kenya. I promised him one day, not sure why, but I said, one day I'm going to come and visit you. And I did. And that was in 2003. But at the same time, I knew Jeff McCarroll very well, who may even be there with you this afternoon. And he asked me to come to a fundraiser at a golf course in Toronto to raise money for a well in Mogadishu. And there I met a man by the name of Malik Hayemba, a Kenyan diplomat. And we became fast friends. And over the years, that friendship has grown and matured. But one thing he said to me, he said, Michael, when you go to Kenya, you must go to Kakamega Forest. And so I did. And as they say, the rest is history. I came back with a burning desire to do something. The needs were so great. The opportunities were there. And so friends got together with me. People like Bernard Simon, Ray Gallant, Deanna Kuzmanovich, Ron Ward, Catherine Guattari, Jane O'Daney. Others came along in the following years: Charles Mayenga, Leonard Wendili, Tom Conant, Kent Freeze. Later on, Kent Rodway. He was our treasurer, kept our books straight, and kept the CRA at bay as well. And so I've just mentioned names of a few of some of our wonderful board members. And when you look at miracles, you have to look at people. People coming together, making decisions, going to the field, and seeing what can be done, in fact. Since 2004, it's hard to believe, 3,500 education scholarships, a school of continuing education led by Patricia McCory, who is actually with you this afternoon in Toronto at Kingsway. You've likely already heard from her. She came on board in 2015, is now a board member of CES Kenya, but she has led our leadership programs and also our peer mentoring programs. What a delightful leader and what a powerful influence on our young people. Well, then we look at 12 sources of clean water. I'm not sure if you realize that there's a little place called Lutaso. And in that village, there's the potential of providing for 2,000 people each day the water that they need. So they don't have to go walking for water over long distances and water which is unclean. Going on, 3 working farms, 4 hand washing stations. One is at Kimangeti Girls High School, and that model has been shared with the United Nations. The UNICEF Global Hand Washing Program looks to Kimangeti for what can be done around the world. We have had Jiggers campaigns, vision outreaches, pad projects for our girls, hygiene kits for everyone. I've got to mention Tom Conant. He lived for 1 year in Kenya, visited twice. He was largely responsible for having 50,000 children receive the worms treatments, those little tablets that would take away and destroy those worms in the belly. And then, of course, at Bishop Sulameti Girls High School, he created a library called the Oasis of Learning. Tom has a plaque there in his name. What he accomplished in a short period of time over those visits is amazing. And so, Tom, thank you. Thank you so much. Glad you're a member of the board as well. And also looking after all of our website and Harambee reports and other things that have to do with the technical side of messaging. I'm pretty sure Gilbert Kiptu is there with you this afternoon, and he and Tom put together a world first, and I believe an only event of its kind. And it's called the Run for Peace, Kenya Run for Peace, 140 kilometers, a run with the elite athletes of Kenya, 13 women, 13 men, 140 kilometers, and attended likely a conservative estimate by 20,000 people, heard the message that you can have an election in Kenya without violence. And because of that, largely in Western Kenya, I believe that violence was curbed in the 2013 election. I don't know if you've met Mercy Lynn Niakundi. Talk about a miracle. She's a basketball star. I think she's there with her family this afternoon. I'm hoping so. They were invited. Between Gilbert Kiptu and myself and a few others, we were able to meet the family and see them in their village home. And Mercy Lynn needed medical attention. And so it took about 4 years of working at the highest levels of the Canadian government and the Shriners Hospital in Montreal and Shadok Hospital in Hamilton. And as a result, the Mwenga family are here in Canada, And they are now Canadian citizens, and they are just moving ahead. Great guns. I am so grateful for this story and how we were led to Gilbert and to Thomas and the family, and what they have received from us and what we have received from them is truly extraordinary. I hope you get to read a little bit about Mercy and hear her story. By the way, I've got to stop here. There's so much more. I could go on for a long time, but you can read about our story under the acacia tree, and copies I know are available for you before you go home. I want to say that we just recently established the Leonard Wandeli Scholarship for students studying at university. STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, those students with interest in social justice and the environmental sustainability. Well, our dear friend Leonard passed away in October of 2021. We miss him very much. His memory and his legacy lives on. And so 4 scholarships have been established in his name to honor him and remember him. These are all CES graduates. Dennis Wary, he's a graduate from Sidiku Secondary School. He's been working with the Kenya Red Cross at the Kakuma refugee camp. That's the largest refugee camp in all of Africa. And he's currently released to study at the master's level. He's beginning his first of 2-year program in public health. We have someone else by the name of Christine Robai Injendi. She's from Kimangeti Girls. 2nd year, almost done her Master of Science program, majoring in biology and conservation. And she recently spent 6 months at the University of Uppsala in Sweden in a research co-op education initiative. Well, then there's Joshua Oyuma Namisi. He's a CES grad as well, from Shewe Secondary School. He's in his 3rd year studying medicine at Uzima University at Kisumu. And this is a professional 5-year degree program. He's doing very well. He needed further support, and he's on his way to receiving and achieving the Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery degree. And lastly, we have Penina Shimuli Omakanda. She is a CES grad from Bishop Sulameti Girls High School, and she's nearing completion of the diploma in nursing. She's in her 3rd year, studying at the Kenya Medical Training College at a little place called Bondo, Western Kenya. Now, Irene Wandeli is here. Welcome, Irene. I wish I could be there with you in person. Thanks for coming all that way from where you live. Irene, the students we are supporting, these 4 I've mentioned, they are all in memory of Leonard. And I would like to thank you personally for your friendship with us and your support for CES over the years. And I hope that you will take comfort in knowing these 4 students will contribute much to Kenyan life. I would be remiss if I didn't mention one other person. Well, 2. First of all, Sharon Poole. I'm grateful for her life. She was a mother to so many of her Irish girls. She died in the field in Kakamega, June 26, 2013, nearly 10 years ago, while she was on her 4th trip to Kenya. My, how she loved her girls, and they loved her back. And she has made an outstanding contribution, and what a legacy. Now, there are still young ladies who are now beginning their early 30s and have families, are doing well. They still think of Sharon Poole as one of their benefactors and influencers of life. And then, of course, our own Wynn Fisher, long-standing member of Kingsway Baptist Church. You know, she reached 100 years of age, and she each year contributed to our Christmas project. She'd phone me up in September, October. She said, Mike, what's going on here at Christmas time? How can we make a difference? And one of the things that she was always good for was knitting these little friendship dolls for our kids. And I've seen young women, our CES grads, and met them in their homes. And these little dolls that they received at age 16, maybe 15 years ago, they still have them. Amazing. Well, without a wonderful partnership with the Kenyan board, we would never have survived even 5 years. So why do I say 5? I say 5 because that's the average amount of time that a charity lasts in the field. Most don't even last that long. I'm just talking about an average. And how is it that we have been able to do some impactful work and enjoy our time together with our Kenyan friends for nearly 2 decades? Well, it's mainly because of our friends over there. Kenyan board, people like Malik Kayemba, Ben Udoto, and others that are doing such fantastic work day in, day out, managing what's going on in the field on a daily basis. Well, in closing, we've got doctors, engineers, teachers, farmers, scientists, environmentalists, nurses, community health professionals. They're all making their contribution. They're all CES grads. Some of them have families. They're moving on. They're looking after each other. They're doing what they never dreamed of before. And that's because they've received the best investment that they could ever have received, and that is the investment of education. And it's been our experience that when you help one, that one person will turn around and multiply by 7-fold, maybe even more. You think of somebody like Dennis Wary. He's impacting now on, I would say, tens of thousands of people in the work that he's doing at the Kakuma camp. Our work is about education, health, water, and nutrition. And of course, those are the foundations of our work, but it's still all about people. It's all about you. It's all about you in this room this afternoon who have been there with us for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or some right from the beginning, 20 years. 45 years ago, I had a student in my Brampton High School at J.A. Turner, where I was teaching. And he graduated. He went to McMaster University, went on in a career in finance. And unknowns to me, over the years, he had become part of the Peter Kundal Foundation and is now, in fact, the chairman. And one Saturday morning, he was reading a newspaper, the Globe and Mail, saw a picture of myself with Busuku Witendi Musli. And here's a young guy who we had helped through all the years so that he could become a doctor. And so this young man, Busuku, had come to where I was, traveled by bicycle about 30 kilometers each way, and then to go home, just to thank us and to thank me for the input into his life. So that picture and the story of CES was in the Globe and Mail. And as a matter of fact, one of the influencers of getting into the Globe and Mail was Bernard Simon, who was Bernard. You never know how much that has meant to us. Just that one introduction to someone at the Globe and Mail. What a story! But just going on to tell you that through the Peter Kundal Foundation and our partnership with them over the years, which has just now ceased, I would estimate that since 2013, 2/3 of our work has been accomplished through that foundation. And that's the miracle. That's a story that will live on in our history for a long, long time. You can't make these stories up. You can't make these miracles up. You can't just say, well, it just happens by chance. No, I don't believe that these things come about by accident. You see, God has provided us with life, provided us with friendships, provided us with talents, and a desire to do small things with great love. And so here we are, totally blessed and grateful to have learned from our Kenyan friends, to have loved them as brothers and sisters, to have served and been loved in return. If someone were to ask me how many children Linda and I have, besides our number one, Mark, who many of you have met, I would say, well, I think we've got about 1,000 or more. And to that, some Kenyans would say, oh my goodness, you must have many wives. Well, I've only got one wife, and I've got to get back to see her now. She's in the neurological section of this AMC hospital in Amsterdam. But she's going to be okay. I would also wish to thank each and every one of you for coming out this afternoon. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your contributions, your support. And it's not with huge regret, because there is a time for everything in life. So after 20 years, I pass on the torch. It is the right time. I feel it in my bones. It's okay. And while I'm remaining on the board, I am grateful that Carl Friesen will be the new CEO. He's been to Kenya 3 times. He has the passion. He has the heart. He's seen the people. He's got a huge heart for our work in Kenya. And he has the strong support of our own board here in Canada. So we're waiting. We're waiting for many more miracles. They will happen, because they do when people of goodwill and good faith come together. And you, dear friends, can be witness to that. I want to thank you for all you do and will continue to do to make our world a better place to live and learn. God bless you all. Thank you so much. It's been good to share with you. Have a great afternoon and a great evening. And goodbye. I'll see you soon in Canada.